You all know that I've been on a journey to find a replacement for my favorite game of all time, Pokemon Emerald. As we just finished the remake of the 3rd gen Pokemon games, now it's time to play through the Ula'ula region. Today we are playing Pokemon Sun and Moon to see if it will claim the #1 spot in my heart. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. We are so close to hitting our first 500 subscribers. Without further ado, let's begin the video. We begin our journey with a video introduction from Professor Kukui, or how I like to address him as, Professor Cousin. After selecting what we want to look like, we head out to help Mom pack for our journey to Ula'ula. Before we continue, we watch a quick cutscene of a blonde girl running away from people while holding something in a duffel bag. After being cornered, a bright light shoots out from the bag, and we are greeted with the title of the game, Pokemon Sun. 3 months later, we are now in the present day, where we are just moving into our beautiful home on the shore of Melemele Island. It pans to us in our bed, sleeping with our shoes on. Imagine all the germs in the bed. Disgusting. We walk out of our room and talk to Mom until Professor Cousin barges in uninvited. He gives us a proper introduction and tells us it must have been a long trip all the way from Kanto. We follow him to town to get a Pokemon of our own and challenge the island's kahuna. Just so FYI, I know I will butcher the names in this video, so please do not write any mean comments about it. Yeah, go ahead and delete that comment you were just writing. We get ready and head out of our lovely home to Iki Town. As we make it to the town, we see the same blonde girl from the cutscene heading into the ruins, and we follow her. As she makes it up to the top, we see a cloud-like Pokemon fly out from a duffel bag, all excited to breathe again. A flock of sparrows start attacking the Pokemon. The blonde girl asks us to save Nebby, and we heroically cover over Nebby. Nebby then lets out a big burst of power and breaks the bridge we are on. As we say our goodbyes to the world, another Pokemon jumps in and saves us before we hit the water and brings us back to the surface. The blonde girl thanks us for saving Nebby. She hands us a stone that Nebby found off the ground, that Tapu Koko left for us, and asks us not to tell anyone about Nebby's existence. We then take her back to town to find the professor waving at us. Turns out the girl is the professor's assistant, Lily. After a brief conversation with the two, the town's kahuna joins in. He tells us that he thinks he saw Tapu Koko flying about. Lily tells him that the island's guardian saved Nebby and our lives. Kahuna Howlett formally introduces himself to us and sends out 3 Pokemon that we can choose from. Obvious choice is Litten, because look at the adorable face. As we head into our house to show Mom our new companion, a kid stops us and introduces himself as Hao, our rival in this region. He asks us to battle him against his Rowlet, whom we defeat with ease. Kuhanahala asks us if we were rescued by Tapu Koko over at the bridge, and he tells us that maybe we are here for a reason. We head straight home and show our mom our lovely Litten. The doorbell rings again, and the professor takes us to Route 1, where he teaches us how to catch Pokemon. We head straight back to town to battle Hao once again in the name of Tapu Koko. He sends out his Pichu as we take it down with a couple of embers. Rowlet is up next, which also goes down to a couple of embers to the face, winning us the battle. Tapu Koko approves of our battle, and Kahuna hands us a Z-ring from the sparkling stone Lily gave us that Tapu Koko dropped for us. This is where we start our island challenge, where we head to 4 different islands and beat the trials in the island's kahunas. We head back home and tell Mom that we're participating in the island challenge. We rest, and the next day rolls in. The doorbell rings again, and if it's the professor, I swear I will smack him across his face. Oh, it's Lily this time. We head out with Lily to the professor's lab. We head in where the professor hands us a Pokédex alongside Rotom that fuses into our Pokédex. Hao joins us, and we all head out to the trainer's school. The professor hands us the EXP share, which makes our lives so much easier. We head into the school and battle various trainers before battling the final trainer, who is the teacher of the school. Ilmod, the captain of one of the trials, introduces themselves before we head off and find a Tauros blocking the road. Tauros and Kuhunahala leave, and we head straight to the beach, where we can stick our toes into the soft sand and get a tan. As we traverse town, we do a quick outfit change. Aren't we looking stylish? We head into the harbor and find Captain Ligma. Mid-conversation, 2 cringy dudes approach us. They're called Team Skull, and boy are they gonna get their butts whooped. They both run off after being defeated, and we get to challenge the captain. I underestimated Ligma, and we are wiped out for the first time. We catch a Magnemite, and with a little bit of strategizing, we take out Ligma's Yungoos and his ace Smeargle. We head out of town and catch another Pokemon to add to the team, Makuhita, before we head into a couple of Team Skull grunts and put them in their place. We also catch a Growlithe and a Cutiefly right before we head into the first trial of the island. For this challenge, we check the holes to find and defeat several Yungoos. After beating them all and giving a butt kicking to the Team Skullgrunts in our way, we head up and face the Totem Pokemon, a juiced up variant of Goomshoos that calls for help that brings other Yungoos into battle. With Makuhita, we take down Goomshoos and finally complete the first trial. We obtain a Normaline Z Crystal, now letting us be able to use Z moves for our normal type Pokemon. Before heading out of the trial, we catch a Zubat and a Alolan Diglett to add to the team. With all this EXP flying around, our little boy evolves into a Torracat, making our cute kitten into a fierce looking one. As we head out of the trial zone, the professor shows us how to use our newly acquired Z Crystal in battle. We then make it up the train and find Lily calling out for Nebby, as Nebby once again attempted its escape plan for freedom. We go get that little rascal and bring it back into the duffel bag, making sure it doesn't escape again. Hao comes along and challenges us for yet another battle. Good thing I love rival battles, because the repetitiveness is getting quite stale. Diglett takes care of his Pikachu, while our Torracat takes down his Rylot. The professor strolls around and tells us to get back to Iki Town for a grand trial. As we make it back to town, we find Lily and the professor at the entrance. For a grand trial, we have to beat Ula'ula in battle against his fighting type Pokemon. We take our place on the platform and send out Torracat against his Mankey. A couple of Fire Fangs do the trick and Mankey is no more. For his Makuhita, we send up Magnemite and paralyze it from the start. On our next turn, we use a potion on Torracat before we send in Torracat to deal big damage with more Fire Fangs, ultimately taking Makuhita down. Crabballer is next, and using the Z move all out pummeling, taking Magnemite out in cold. No need to worry about Z moves anymore. We bring out Zubat, using several wing attacks, taking Crabballer's HP to half before going down. With the help of Makuhita and Torracat, we beat that crab till it's fish food. As a token of beating the battle that Tapu Koko approves, Ula'ula gives us a second Z crystal. We give the Fightinium Z to Makuhita, which will deal great damage to our opponents. Looks like Tauros wants to help us get around much faster as he lends us a hand where we can summon it and ride on his back whenever we feel like. With the first island challenge completed, we set sail to Akala Island, but more specifically, Hiahia City, where we are greeted by Mallow and Olivia. Mallow is one of the captains that will help us with our trial just like Captain Ilma. As we look around the city and admire the sights, we bump into two familiar faces, Cinna and Dexio, the two assistants of Professor Scaramore, aka Mr. Hung himself, all the way back in Kalos. I love it when games give throwbacks or even cameos to their older games. Cinna tells us that we should battle Dexio in battle, so we do the right thing and put Dexio in his place by taking out his Slowpoke and Espeon fairly quickly. They then give us the Zygarde Cube to collect cores and cells of Zygarde scattered all across the region. Afterwards, we make it to Paniola Town. As soon as we take a step in, Howl battles us once more. We make quick with him and his Pokemon and make our way into the town ranch where we find Mallow milking milk tanks. I guess they gotta get milk somewhere. Mallow hands us a Rhypager for Stoutland, which we'll need later on. Before we leave the ranch, we use our new Z move on a Tauros and leave it in a coma. On Route 5, we find Howl defeated by an emo kid who listens to too much My Chemical Romance. He introduces himself as Gladion. He asks us to battle him to make his Pokemon Type Null stronger, and of course we say yes, and give Gladion a butt whooping that he deserves. After a battle, a couple of Team Skullgrunts come strolling along trying to take us on, but Gladion tells them to just keep moving. We make it to Brooklet Hill, to the second trial site where we are introduced to Lana. She gives us a Rhypager for Lapras. We hop on Lapras's back and swim across the pond and battle Wishy-Washis in the splashes all over the pond area. After doing so, we make it to the final splash area where the trial really starts. All of the Wishy-Washi gather around and form a huge totem variant of Wishy-Washi. With Magnemite, we stun Wishy-Washi and take it down little by little until its ability, Schooling, runs out and forms back into a simple Wishy-Washi, making it easier to take out with a wing attack from Zubat. We head back to Lana on land, and she gives us a Watery EM Z alongside an old rod for fishing. We head to the next town where a trainer named Hapu asks for our aid to battle some more Team Skullgrunts. After handling the grunts, she tells us to head to the Battle Royale Stadium. As we head in, we see the Royal, as he teaches us all about Battle Royales. Not to toot my own horn, but I've been known to dabble in some Fortnite in the past, so this will be a breeze. Gladion and Hao join in as we go all out against the three of them. We go for the obvious pick, Hao's Dartrix. I guess we all had the same idea because all three of us attacked Dartrix, taking it down in the first turn. As we leave the stage, one of the captains, Captain Cowie, steps in and tells us that we were on fire during the match. He also tells us that he will be waiting for us to take on his trial, all the way up to the peak of Wella Volcano Park. Before we head up the volcano, we take this time to catch a Magikarp and add it to the team. We finally make it up the volcano and start our third trial. For this trial, we find a thing that is different in the frame, and after getting them all right, we challenge the totem Pokemon, Slazzle. Our Torracat goes down to a couple of Venoshocks, but not before we deal half damage to Slazzle. Diglett also goes down to a Flame Burst. We send in Magnemite and deal some more damage before going down to another Flame Burst. With Makuhita, we use Knock Off to deal tons of damage and knock off the berry Slazzle was holding. Makuhita unfortunately goes down to a Venoshock as well. With only two Pokemon in our arsenal, we send out Zubat, who takes hits from both Slazzle and Slandit, but not before we revive our boy Torracat. With a quick bite, we take out Slazzle, leaving only Slandit, which also goes down to a couple of bites, winning us the trial. That was a close one, but luckily Magikarp evolves into a Gyarados. Since we successfully beat the trial, Cowie gives us a Fire Z that we hand over to our Torracat. Cowie also gives us the Charizard Rhypager, so now we can fly to anywhere we already have been in a matter of seconds. We head down the volcano and head straight to Route 8 to challenge Captain Mallow's trial. But before we make it to the trial, we bump into another familiar face from the Unova region, Colress. He gives us a TM for Flame Charge and walks off. Great seeing him here in Alola. We make it to Lush Jungle to start our fourth trial. Captain Mallow needs some ingredients that are scattered all around the jungle. With Scoutland, we sniff out the things that we need and bring them back to Mallow. Lana and Kiawe join in and we get to cooking. The scent of the mix attracts the totem Pokemon Lantris, With our Torracat, we deal tons of damage with our new Z move, Infernal Overdrive. We finish it off with a Fire Fang, and both Makihira and Zubat evolve into Hariyama and Golbat, thus completing the trial and gaining us another Z crystal. The professor comes along and takes us to a dimensional research lab where we find Lily and Nebby at the entrance. We walk in and find an ongoing research about ultra dimension portals. There, the professor introduces us to his wife, Burnett, who is also a professor on the island. We head outside to head to the final trial of the island to challenge the island's kahuna, Olivia. Over at Diglett's tunnel, we run into more grunts that Hao and ourselves put a stop to. At the town over, we find a couple of grunts bothering more pedestrians. After beating the grunts, the strange man with the strange outfit choice tells us after we complete the trial, we should head to the Heno Grand Resort for a treat. Sounds kinda creepy, not gonna lie. As we take a step into the grand trial, one of the main people from Team Sculpt stops us and introduces herself as Plumeria before battling us. She was annoying, confused rating our Pokemon, installing the inevitable doom of her Pokemon. We finally take down her annoying Golbat and a Salandit, leaving her no choice but to back down. We head into the trial while Lily and Burnett join in behind us. Olivia walks out and tells Tapu Lele had summoned her to clean up the ruins. Must have been one hell of a party. We waste no time and challenge Olivia, where she sends out her first Pokemon, Nosepass. Hariyama hits hard, leaving Nosepass at 1 HP due to its ability Sturdy. We take down Nosepass before Olivia sends out her Baldor. After lowering Baldor's HP, we send in Torracat to finish the job. The last of our Pokemon is Lycanroc, who hits us with the Z move, taking down our cat. We send in Gyarados, which also goes down, but not without lowering its attack with Intimidate. We bring back Hariyama, taking that werewolf out. With all this winning, Golbat evolves into one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, Crobat, thus ending the second grand trial and leaving us with only 2 more to complete. Olivia gives us another Z crystal to add to the collection. We head into the Hano Grand Resort to meet with a man who thinks that he's a Flygon and introduces himself as Faba, as he tells us that he will take us on a tour to Aether Paradise. Hao wants to join us as well, and the professor says that he will meet us at the next island. We hop on the ferry towards Aether Paradise. We make it to Aether Paradise and we are welcomed by Wiki. She takes us around the place. While walking around, we run into Lucamine, the president of the foundation. She's over 40 and looks this good. I should definitely grab her pediatrician's number. Mid-conversation, a Warpole appears out of nowhere, and we see our first Ultra Beast. Beasts that come from different worlds. We take the beast's HP down before it runs away back where it came from. Lucamine talks to herself and has a creepy look on her face as she says that she needs that Ultra Beast. Afterwards, we say our goodbyes and head back to the ferry to Ula'ula Island. As soon as we set foot on land, Hao battles us once more, now with an Alolan Raichu. We send out Diglett, thinking that we can deal some damage, but Diglett goes down in an instant. Torracat takes Raichu out with a couple of bites. Next is Vaporeon, which Crobat deals damage with Cross Poison before Gyarados takes it out with a couple of bites. His final Pokemon is Dartrix, and after healing Torracat, we send our cat back in to finish the battle with a couple of Fire Fangs to the face. We make it to the Golden Bridge with Hao and find the professor just chilling in the lone sun. We tell him everything that happened back in Aether Paradise. He tells us that the next trial is up on Mount Hokalani and that we need to catch a bus to get there on Route 10. We come across Lily and she tells us that she wants to take Nebby to visit Ula'ula Ruins and asks if she can tag along. Afterwards, we see a familiar face. Meet Samson Oak, Professor Oak's cousin. The resemblance is uncanny. We find Lily over at the town library and Hapu shows up with their trusted steed. She really loves showing it off. We head into the library and Lily sets off to find a textbook. A youngster hands the book that Lily is looking for. The text reads about the story about the beast that devours the sun, and with the power of the sun and moon, Alolan's guardians are born. The young girl introduces herself as Acerola and how her father was somewhat royalty. We head out of the library to the next location on our list. Before we make it to the trial, Douglet evolves into Dugtrio, and our Torracat evolves into Incineroar. We make it to the bus stop that the professor mentioned and take the bus to Mount Hokulani, where the professor points out a mountain in the distance. On the peak is where they're building the first Pokémon League in the lower region. We get the chance to be the first ever Pokemon champion, and in my opinion, that is such a cool concept. Afterwards, we bump into Milani, and he tells us that Captain Sophocles is a busy man and that he will be testing us during the trial himself. We waste no time and show him that we have that dog in us, and he lets us proceed. We decide to come face to face with Sophocles, and I mean this kid is even younger than us, and he's a captain? We summon the totem Pokemon to us using some invention that he came up with. After completing some puzzles, the totem Pokemon Vikavolt is summoned. We take it out with Incineroar, thus completing yet another trial and gaining the Electrinium Z crystal. We head back to the Golden Bridge and find Grunt in the professor's way. The head of Team Skull, Guzma, walks in and we take him on. First, his Glycopod almost gets taken down, but his emergency exit ability kicks in, and he sends out Ariados. We take Ariados out with a quick but powerful Fire Fang. He sends Glycopod back out, and Magnemite takes it out with an Electro Ball. Defeater Guzma tells us that we will meet again, and he will give us a good beating. Yeah, right, Guzma. How about you guzz my balls while you're at it? As a reward, the professor gives us Insinium Z, Incineroar's own Z crystal. Lily and Acerola join in, and Acerola tells us that the next trial will be past Route 11 through Tapple Village. Making our way there, we level up and evolve Magnemite into a Magneton. While we're at it, we do a quick wardrobe change and head to the trial zone, where Hapo gives us a Rhypager for a Muzdale. Passing through the terrain and battling grunts and various trainers, we make it to Route 13 and find Hao and Gladion. Gladion tells us that Team Skull is after Cosmog, aka Nebby, and that we should keep it safe from them. At Route 15, we head into Acerola's home, which is the Aether House. After battling her little brother and sister, Acerola comes in and tells us that she is a captain for our next trial. Before we can attend the trial, a grunt ambushes Lily and tells us to hand over the bag. We send him home crying, and Lily heads inside the house to be protected. We make it to the trial zone, which is held at an abandoned supermarket. We take the pictures of possessed items, and out comes Ghastly, Hunter, and Gengar. We defeat them and head into a secret room. Behind us is a Mimikyu, the totem Pokemon that we have to defeat. With the help of Incineroar and Crobat, we take down Mimikyu once and for all. Since we beat the trial, Acerola gives us a Ghostinium Z. Suddenly, Acerola gets chills and tells us to get back to her house. We head back to find out that Team Skull has kidnapped Acerola's sister's Yungoos, and we battle against Plumeria. She tells us that if we want Yungoos back, we have to come to the base in Po-Town alone. While we're at it, we collected enough Zygarde ourselves, so we head to the lab Cinna and Dexio were at and dump all the cells into the machine to give us a 10% Zygarde. Afterwards, we head back to the shore close to the Aether House, and we talk to Grimsley, one of the Elite Four members back in the Unova region. After a quick heads and tail game, and of course we pick heads, he hands us a Rhypager for Sharpedo. We make it to Po-Town, and it's infested with grunts. As we enter the base, an old timer asks if we are ready to handle the heat. We say that we are, and we head into the heart of Team Skull. Battling grunts back to back, we make it to the mansion where Guzma is waiting for us. Throughout the mansion, we find pages that give us the code to get past the grunt and into Guzma's room. Big bad Guzma battles us, sending out his Glycopod, and we switch into Magneton, hitting it with a Gigavolt Havoc, taking his Glycopod out with one hit. Ariados doesn't stand a chance against our Incineroar, and also goes down to one hit. Guzma gives back the Yungoos and walks out of the room. Before we go back, we pick up a Buganium Z and head out of the mansion. The old timer takes our Pokemon and heals them. Acerola comes rushing in. She thanks us for saving Yungoos and runs off with Yungoos. The old timer Nahu spouts out some philosophy and walks off into the distance. We head back to the Aether House and find out Team Skull kidnapped Lily along with Nebby and took him to Aether Paradise. Gladion barges in and out of anger he battles us. Bro, we aren't the enemy here. We give Gladion a butt whooping and he calms down. We all go down to the dock, and while waiting for Hao, Uncle Nahu tells us that he's the island's kahuna, and to finish the island's trial, we have to complete it by challenging him. We take a Sableye out with a malicious Moonsault, one-shotting Sableye. His Krokorok comes out next, and with Gyarados, we Aqua Tail it to take it out. Hariyama deals with his alone Persian, winning us the battle, and obtaining the Darkanium Z Crystal. Hao finally joins in, and we set sail to Aether Paradise. We find the elevator and head up to find Faba. We battle Faba, and make quick of him, taking out his Hypno. Faba gives us the elevator key to have full access of the elevator, and we head downstairs this time. We come across some Aether Foundation workers blocking our path, and I know just the thing to remove them from the equation. After searching the whole downstairs area, we don't find a trace of Lily or Nebby anywhere. Faba played us like a damn fiddle. We head back up and find Wiki, and she tells us that Lily could be with the president. Gladion tells her that's all he needs to know and rushes north, where we find Faba and more guards blocking our way. Take on the guards with Gladion, till there's only Faba and one more guard that are getting in our way. This time we double team with Hao, taking out Ladybell first, leaving Faba in the open. We take down Faba's Slowbro, Bruxus, and Hypno to finish the battle. Faba hands us the key to open the gate to the palace, but we can't celebrate yet. We have to take down all these grunts that are in our way. We make it all the way to the entrance of the palace, where Guzma is waiting for us. We find Gladion frustrated by the fact that he's defeated by Guzma. Guzma tells us that it's our turn to get a beat down, and thus begins the battle. We deal lots of damage to Glycopod with Magneton's Electro Ball, before it uses the ability Emergency Exit. Next is his Pinsir, which takes out Incineroar, so we switch into Crobat, which takes Pinsir out in a pinch. Masquerain also goes down to our fast boy Crobat. His Glycopod comes out once again, and we finish it off with another Electro Ball. Lastly, his Ariados is fries with a Gigavolt Havoc. Guzma accepts defeat and lets us through. We head inside and find Lily and the president, Lucami. Lily thanks us for coming to save her and Nebby. Lily tells Lucami that she doesn't need our approval to save Cosmog. Lucami tells her that she doesn't have any children, especially ones that run off. Lily tries to convince her mother not to sacrifice Cosmog, to open an Ultra Wormhole to summon an Ultra Beast, and then if she does, Cosmog will die. Lucami doesn't listen and uses a Warp Pad, and we follow behind her. We find ourselves in a big room with various Pokemon frozen in what looks like ice. Lucami has frozen these Pokemon forever her for her sole pleasure. Hal and Gladion join in after us. Gladion also tries to convince his mother to do the right thing. Hal's a bit slow, but he realizes that they're a family. Like, come on Hal, there's no other blonde people on the island. Lily cries out once more to her mother, but she doesn't listen once more and uses Cosmog that's been trapped to open the wormhole, bringing disaster all over the region. Ultra Beasts come down to the island one by one. The island's guardians come alive and help fight the Ultra Beasts. Lucamine has finally summoned her Ultra Beast. Guzma comes along as well, being the simp that he is. While Gladion tries to take care of the Ultra Beast with Type Null, and Hal deals with Guzma, we take on Lucamine. Her Clefable destroys her Hariyama, because I forgot that they changed Clefable from normal type to fairy type. Oops. But Clefable goes down to Magneton's flash cannons. She says and beware, and without Hariyama, this will be interesting. We send out Crobat to deal some damage with air slashes, taking it out in 3 hits. Lucamine sends out Miss Magius, and we stay in with Crobat to use Never Ending Nightmare, taking it down to half HP. We hit a Shadow Ball, but take lots of damage from Miss Magius. We switch into Incineroar, but that was a bad idea. Gyarados finally takes out Miss Magius. Her Lilligant takes Gyarados out, so we send in Crobat once again using Leech Life, stealing its HP, and keeping Crobat alive, to hit it once more with the Leech Life, taking it out. Finally, her Milotic comes out, and with Magneton, we hit it with the Electro Ball, taking it down to half HP, before Milotic takes Magneton out with a Hydro Pump. We sacrifice Dugtrio to max revive Magneton, and send it back out, knowing even if Milotic one-shots us, Sturdy will activate, giving us another chance to finish the battle with another Electro Ball. That's some 300 IQ plays right there. In defeat, Lucamine throws a tantrum, and the Ultra Beast starts fading back into its own dimension. As a last resort, she and her sim Guzma head into the wormhole. Lily steps forward to see if Nebby is alright, and out comes a changed form of Cosmog that's not moving anymore. We all head back to the entrance and find Wiki, who Gladion explains all of what happened back there. Gladion also adds that we need to save Lucamine and Guzma, who are now trapped within the Ultra Beast's dimension. On a whim, we agree to find Alola's legendary beast that might help us open and go through Ultra Wormholes. We rest at the palace before heading out to find the legendary beast. Lily walks towards us, all in a new outfit, looking like a real trainer now. She talks about how she wants to be more and do more, rather than just sitting on the sideline. Now talk about character development. Gladion hands Lily the moon flute that his mother stored in the palace, and also hands us the Master Ball as well. Hal joins in our conversation, and we set off to Poni Island to find the legendary beast and to finish our trials. We all arrive at Sea Folk Village and meet the chief of Sea Folk Village. We tell him that we're looking for the island's kahuna, and he tells us to go to Hapu's house. That's the girl with the Mudsdale that's always dragging it around. Now that I mention it, I haven't seen her ride that horse. Weird. We catch a Gastrodon and replace Dugtrio for a better ground type coverage. We make it to the ancient pony path, and speak of the devil, we come across Mudsdale. Not too long after, Hapu shows her face. We all plan to go to the ruins, and Hapu rides her horse for the first time. Before we head to the ruins, we meet Hapu's parents, who gives us a ride pager from Machamp. We step foot into the ruins of Hope, and with Machamp, we complete a few puzzles and find Hapu being blessed by the island's guardian as she gets her Z-Ring as a new kahuna. She also mentions that we'll need the Sun Flute that can be found at Executor Island. So we head back to the dock and talk to the chief that takes us to Executor Island to find the Sun Flute. We get attacked by a wild Alolan Executor with a long neck that cuts out a frame. With Incineroar, we damage it and catch it on the spot. Out of nowhere, it starts to rain and we take cover. Lily tells us a cute story about her mom when she was younger. The rain stops, and it looks like it's all clear skies from now. We make it to the altar at the top and obtain the Sun Flute. With both the Sun Flute and the Moon Flute, we can now summon the legendary beast. We make it back to the ancient pony path and find a bunch of grunts blocking our way. They ask us if we know if we can really save their simp of a boss, Guzma, and bring him back, but of course not without a fight. We beat all the grunts and come to find Pomeria was watching us from a distance. She gives us a backhanded apology and a poison named Z Crystal before taking off. We finally make it to the vast pony canyon, where Hapu is waiting for us. Hapu accepts our island challenge as the final kahuna of our island challenge, and we begin to battle on the spot. She sends in Dugtrio first, while we send out Gyarados to counter its earthquake. One Aqua Tail to the face, and the 3 blondies are buried. Next is Flygon, and we hit a super effective Ice Fang before she uses a Hyper Potion. We quickly use a full restore on Gyarados, and one more Ice Fang does the trick, and we take out Flygon. Gastrodon doesn't go down easily, due to us not having grass-type Pokemon. We hit Gastrodon with a malicious Moonsault, and almost take it out. We T-pose on Gastrodon with the Darkest Lariat, and take it out for good this time. Her ace is Mudsdale. We switch into our own Gastrodon to sacrifice it to its Tectonic Rage from Mudsdale. Crobat comes out, dealing laughable damage with air slashes. Next turn we heal and use a Cherry Berry on Gyarados before switching into it. We use an Aqua Tail until we put that horse down. You may rest now, my sweet steed. After the battle, because we are in Pony Canyon, Magneton evolves into its final evolution, Magnezone. As a reward, on beating yet another grand trial, we are handed the Groundinium Z Crystal as well. We are finally able to advance and make our way to summon the legendary beast. While battling various trainers and solving puzzles, we meet Mina, and she tells us that she's sort of a captain and hands us a Fairy MZ. I can't keep up with these crystals, man. We make it up to the final island's trial, we face off Jangmo-O's and Hakamo-O's, and finally the totem Pokemon of the trial, Komomo-O, that we take out with the help of Gyarados and Crobat, completing our trial and obtaining the Dragon Enium Z Crystal. We find ourselves at the Altar of the Sun, where we walk up all these stairs and almost black out. I really need to hit more cardio. Whew. We make it to the top of the altar, and we get in position with Lily, and start playing both flutes at the same time. The gate opens up, shooting a beam of light onto the ground. Nebby flies towards the beam of light and changes forms into a great beast, Solgaleo. Solgaleo opens a wormhole, and we hop on his back and jump through it. Solgaleo takes us to a dark and damp place. We leave Solgaleo behind as we find Guzma, and he asks how did we even get in this place, and we're all stupid for even coming here. He also says that the Ultra Beast possessed him at one point, but Lusamine, however, has completely lost it. We find the president along with the Ultra Beast saying how dare we come to her perfect world. Ma'am, there's nothing here. Despite Lily's efforts, Lusamine is keen on staying in her perfect world. Lily gives an empowering speech and tells Lusamine that she's a terrible mother. Lusamine then fuses with her Ultra Beast, Nihilego, and becomes a goth mommy. Of course, we gotta battle her. But this time, all their Pokemon are like totem Pokemon, where they are boosted in their stats. First comes out Clefable, that we take out with Crobat's Cross Poison. Next is Mismagius. We stick with our boy Crobat and use Shadow Balls until Mismagius falls to the ground. This time, we switch into Magnezone to prepare for Milotic. One discharge from Magnezone deals more than half damage to Milotic, forcing Lusamine to heal with Recover and waste a turn. Rinse and repeat, we take down Milotic and get ready for a Beware. We send in Hariyama and chop that bear's HP down, just enough to use all out plummeting. Beware uses Pain Split and recovers a ton of HP for itself. This bear is getting on my nerves now. We switch into Incineroar and use Flame Floor, burning that bear into a crisp. Our final Pokemon Lilligant doesn't stand a chance against our big boy and also gets burned to a crisp, defeating Lusamine in battle. Lusamine goes crazy and Lily calls out to Solgaleo for help to save her mother from the Ultra Beast. Nihilego removes itself from her body and we watch as Lusamine falls to the ground. Lily rushes to her mother and they have a touching mother and daughter moment. Guzma comes rushing in as the place starts to shake and the Ultra Beasts get angry at us. We all get on Solgaleo's back and head to our own dimension, where we find Hapu and her Muzdale waiting for our return. Guzma helps Hapu to take care of Lusamine back to safety, and Solgaleo allows us to challenge and capture it to aid us in our travels. In our first attempt, we catch Solgaleo in an Ultra Ball and add it to our team. Lily gives her final goodbyes to Nebby, and we see Unknahu sitting in the distance. He tells us that there's one final trial to complete, and that is to challenge the Pokemon League. We head to the base of Mount Lanakila and find Gladion waiting for us. He thanks us for saving his mother and helping Lily. As a thanks, all he can offer is a battle. I mean, money can work as a thank you or even a cheeseburger. Gladion saw a beast of a Crobat and said, I want that too. Such a wannabe. Solgaleo takes it out with a single Zen headbutt. We switch into Incineroar as he sends out Silvally, the evolution of type Null. We almost get taken out with a multi-attack from Silvally before dealing tons of damage with Malicious Moonsault. We switch into Gyarados to finish Silvally for good with a couple of Aqua Tails. The second to last Pokemon is Weavile. So we send in Crobat and we use Leech Life to suck out the life out of Weavile's eyes. Finally, Gladion sends in Lucario. As we switch into Magnezone, since Lucario is a fast dog, we paralyze Lucario with the Thunder Wave to lower his speed by a lot. We heal Incineroar and switch after sacrificing Magnezone. Incineroar uses Flamethrower, leaving that dog in ash. Gladion tells us that Lily gave him Max Elixir as a gift to give to us for saving her mom. Gladion, take notes on gift giving from your sister, please. We use the lift to get to the peak of the mountain. We head into the Poké Center and give a heart scale to this old lady in order to remind Gastrodon Mud Bomb. As we head into the entrance of the Pokemon League, Hao comes up to us and yaps about that after splitting up, he finishes trials. Hao challenges us to battle, and whoever wins gets to challenge the league first. Spoiler alert, it's us. With Hao still only having 4 Pokemon, we take out his Raichu, Vaporeon, Komala, and finally his Decidueye. Hao wishes us luck and hands us 3 max revives, which will definitely come in handy. Take notes, Gladion. We walk up the mountain and make it to the entrance of the Pokemon League, where we find the professor standing with his abs in the sun. He explains that he wanted to make a Pokemon League for the Alolan region ever since he faced the Pokemon League back in Kanto and lost to Lance, the champion at the time. Without wasting any more time, we step in the league and find 4 doorways that lead to different league members. We start out with the far left door that leads to Kahuna Hala. He starts the battle with Hariyama and us with Solgaleo, taking out Hariyama with a couple of psychics, taking Hariyama out fast. Next is his Primeape, so we switch to Crobat. We take a huge amount of damage, but we retaliate, taking Primeape to half HP. Since Primeape is faster, our Crobat goes down to Outrage, but confusing Primeape in the process. We bring back Solgaleo and take out Primeape for good. Next Pokemon Hala sends out is Beware. and since Solgaleo is on low HP, we send out Magnezone. We heal Solgaleo and get left on 1 HP due to Magnezone's sturdy ability. With Thunder Wave, we paralyze that bear and hit a Flash Canyon, dealing tons of damage before we send back Solgaleo after Magnezone gets taken down. We use a Psychic once more, and Beware is no more. Second to last is Crabominal, which also goes down to Solgaleo's Corkscrew Crash. His last Pokemon is Poliwrath, and with just a couple of Psychics to the face, Poliwrath is also taken out in a flash. Next door we go through is the Ghost-type Kahuna Acerola, where she starts off with Sableye, who hits us with the Confuse Ray on an Incineroar, stalling the fight. Incineroar hits himself not once, but twice, dealing more than half of his HP before hitting a T-pose, dealing tons of damage on Sableye. One more T-pose does the trick, and that annoying Sableye is long gone. With our HP in the red, we switch into Gyarados to counter Poliosan. Gyarados uses a Hydro Pump, dealing some damage, and activating Palosan's Water Compaction ability, raising his special defense. Palosan expands his domain with a never-ending nightmare, leaving Gyarados with 15 HP. Gyarados hits Palosan with a Hydro Vortex, making that sand turn into mud. Up next is Frostlass, which uses a Confuse Ray on Solgaleo. After hitting itself in confusion multiple times and only having 13 HP left, we choose to sacrifice Solgaleo to heal Incineroar, which also gets confused by a Confuse Ray. I'm not too fond of this battle and how it's going. Finally, Incineroar snaps out of confusion, and we hit a Flamethrower that leaves it at 10 HP before Acerola uses a full restore and hits us yet with another Confuse Ray. But this time, we hit on the first turn, taking that annoying Frostlass out. I don't want to ever see another Frostlass in my life. Delamise goes down quite easily after getting damaged over and over by air slashes. Her final Pokemon is Drifloon. We heal Incineroar and bring him back on the field, where he T-poses and takes Drifloon out for good this time. The third Elite Four member that we haven't seen at all is Kahili, the flying type member. After doing some research, I found out that Kahili completed her island challenge and flew off to become a better trainer and golfer. She came back after hearing Professor Kukui was opening a Pokemon League here in Aloha. The more you know, back to the battle. She starts off with her Skarmory. Skarmory sets spikes on the ground before taking a Flare Blitz to the face, leaving it at 1 HP due to his sturdy ability. Kahili wastes her full restore on Skarmory before we take it down with a couple of Flamethrowers. Mandibuzz is up next, and we switch into Magnezone, taking lots of damage but hitting back with tons of damage herself with a discharge that leaves Mandibuzz paralyzed and lowering its speed. We take advantage of the situation and hit another discharge to finish Mandibuzz off. As we send in Gyarados, she sends in Oricorio, and we get hit with an Air Slash, and you can see the shock on my face. I wasn't expecting that much damage. Gyarados hits back with a Hydro Pump, dealing more than half HP to Oricorio. Oricorio hits another Air Slash, leaving us at 28 HP, but we hit it with the Ice Fang, leaving it around the same HP as Gyarados. She uses another full restore as we miss our attack, as Oricorio takes Gyarados out the next turn. Gastrodon hits Oricorio with a couple of Muddy Waters that takes it down. Toucannon comes out and destroys Gastrodon, but it's all in the plan since we can bring out Magnezone and use Gigavolt Havoc. I misclicked and I used Thunder Wave. It's not my day today, I guess. But it all worked out because Kahili uses a full restore and gives us a free turn, dealing tons of damage to Toucannon. The next turn, we take down Toucannon. Her last Pokemon is Crobat. Crobat uses Supersonic to try to confuse us, but misses. What is up with the Elite Four and confusion tactics? Magnezone uses Flash Cannon a couple times to take out Crobat easily and quickly. The final Elite Four member is Mommy Olivia and her rock Pokemon. We start out with Magnezone this time as she sends out her Relicanth. Relicanth uses Yawn, but it doesn't matter because of her beast of a machine KOs it in one hit with a single discharge. Olivia's upcoming Pokemon is Probopass, which we switch into Gastrodon and hit it with the Muddy Water, which deals laughable damage. While tanking Earth Powers from Probopass, we keep spamming Muddy Waters to at least lower its HP for the next Pokemon. After Gastrodon goes down, we send in Gyarados and hit a Hydro Pump, leaving Probopass at 1 HP. Thinking that Olivia will heal, we use Hydro Vortex, but she doesn't heal up and we waste a Z move. With 3 more Pokemon on our team, she sends in a Alolan Golem. We sacrifice Gyarados to revive Gastrodon and bring her on the field. Gastrodon tanks a Steamroller and hits hard with another Muddy Water. Gastrodon sadly goes down next turn. After getting Golem low, Olivia decides to heal up, putting us back at square one. We use a max revive on Gastrodon and deal chip damage until Golem takes out our Incineroar. With little HP left, Gastrodon finally takes Golem out with a single Muddy Water. Carbink is next, and after a Muddy Water and a couple of Mud Bombs, we take it down to half HP before going down again. Solgaleo takes Carbink out with his signature move, Sunsteel Strike. Lastly, her final Pokemon is Lycanroc, dog versus cat. We use Sunsteel Strike twice, taking the dog out for a walk around the park. After healing and reviving most of our Pokemon for our final battle, we are left with 2 restores and 5 revives. This battle isn't gonna be an easy one. We teach Incineroar Brick Break for a fighting type coverage. We walk to the middle of the platform that takes us to the champion stage. We walk to the chair and claim our throne as the champion, and the credits roll. Just kidding, we still have to face the champion first. The professor walks in and tells us that we have one more trainer to battle, and that trainer is him. Professor starts off with his Lycanroc, and we start with Gyarados. We take tons of damage, but hold on with 2 HP and use a Hydro Vortex. Right off the bat, it takes Lycanroc out in one hit. Magnezone is next, so we switch into Gastrodon. Magnezone deals so little damage with Flash Cannon, while we deal tons of damage, forcing the professor to waste heals. One more Mud Bomb, and Magnezone is zoned out. His third Pokemon is Bravery, and this bird is a tricky one to counter. We bring Gyarados back out and heal it back to full health, while Bravery hits a Brave Bird, dealing some damage to us and to itself. Next turn, Bravery uses Tailwind, while we hit an Ice Beam. Another Brave Bird leaves Gyarados with 22 HP left, as we hit another Ice Beam, leaving Bravery with the same amount of health left. Gyarados goes down to a Crush Claw from Bravery. We bring out Incineroar for the first time this battle, and tank a Brave Bird from Bravery, taking itself out in the process. We switch into Solgaleo to take on Snorlax. A couple of Sunsteel Strikes deals enough damage to take that big boy down. Professor Kukui sends out his starter Pokemon, Primarina, and we stay in. As we are faster, we deal loads of damage to Primarina, as Primarina uses a Z move, taking Solgaleo out. With Magnezone, we take out Primarina without breaking a sweat. His Alone Ninetales is up last, and with Incineroar, we take it out with a single Flamethrower, winning us the battle and the title of Alola's first Pokémon League champion. With a piece of a team, we write our names into history as the best Pokemon trainer Alola has ever seen. We head back to Ikitown to have a grand celebration of our victory and success. We see all the people we met on our journey, even Gladion standing behind a tree as he admires us from afar. We sneak out with Lily and head to the ruins of conflict. We head inside and Lily thanks Tapu Koko for saving them all the way back at the beginning of our story. As we reach out and touch the statue, we are sent into a void where we only see Tapu Koko and Solgaleo. Tapu Koko tells us that it's time, and we start battle with Tapu Koko. We get Tapu Koko low enough to start throwing balls at it. After multiple attempts, we finally caught Tapu Koko in an Ultra Ball. We head back to town and act like nothing happened. Lily gets all sentimental on us. She tells us that she knows what she needs to do next, but gets interrupted by fireworks that start in the background. We all join together and the professor congratulates us once more. We send out our team to show the island what champs look like as the credits start to roll. But we are not done yet. The next day we wake up to the glaring sun of Alola and hear the doorbell go off again. As we walk towards the door, Hal barges in and tells us there's disaster going on. He tells us to come with him and he'll explain later. We find ourselves at Hal Oli City Marina and find the professor and Lily. We overhear that Lily is setting foot on a new journey and is going to Kanto to do so. Lily gives us her childhood Pokédoll and tells her goodbye as she heads on the boat that goes to Kanto. Hal gets all emotional and starts to sob. The professor tells us that we should all go home, and the camera pans to our house as the credits start to roll as we get to see all the faces and places we visit in the region. And with that, we have completed Pokemon Sun and Moon with a playtime of 17 hours and 31 minutes. There are great things about this game and things that I dreaded while playing. But let's start with the positive. I love the game style of these games. Fun, colorful, and unique in its own way. I enjoyed the design of the Alolan Pokemon, overall typings as well. For example, having Golem as a ground and electric type takes care of the threat of water Pokemon, giving you a better option when creating your team. I found that Z moves were awesome, as well as making them unique and having great animations that also pack a punch. When it comes to the characters, they're all quirky and easy to remember who they are. They really have their own characteristics, from Hao to Lily or the Kahunas like Kahuna Hala or Hapu. Having them appear throughout your journey, you really have a connection to their character and strengthen your bond rather than them just being NPCs. I also like the ride pages you get through Alola. With them, you don't need HM Pokemon in your party filling up space that you can use to make your team better. Now onto the bad side of the game. One word, dialogue. Now I understand, without all the dialogue, the characters would feel like another NPC in the game. But let me tell you that 90% of this game is cutscenes for the first 5 to 7 hours. I can't tell you how many times I would watch a cutscene for just another cutscene to play 2 seconds later. I really have to push through and hope that it gets better towards the mid to end game. As for the Z moves, you can only use it once every battle. Unlike Mega Evolving, where that Pokemon is Mega Evolved for the rest of the battle. Also giving the Z crystals, you can't give another item or berry. I would understand that if you use it more than once, that would be OP and make the game easier. But having the ability to use it only once in battle, and not a lot of Pokemon can use their Z moves. I would have liked to be able to give a Pokemon an amulet coin to gather more money. I think you should be able to hold a crystal and an item as well, but again, this is all my opinion. I wish they added a segment where you can go through ultra wormholes before the post game. Speaking of post game, did you know that the TM for Earthquake is locked behind the post game? When I found this out, I was actually shocked. But other than the negatives I mentioned, I still had fun traveling around Alola and being the first ever champion in the region. Meeting all the captains and the kahunas, figuring out the trials puzzles, and creating a great team. As for ratings, I thought about it very much. If the game kept going the way that it was early game to mid game, I would definitely give it a 7. But the way it turned out, I would give Pokemon Sun and Moon a solid 8 out of 10. Playing Pokemon Sun and Moon in 2024, 8 years from its release date, is worth giving it a shot. What do you think about my rating? And what would you give it on a scale of 1 to 10? Let me know in the comments down below. But that's all for this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Let's get to our first 500 subscribers. And a little reminder that I stream all of these games over on my Twitch. So if you like, drop a follow there too. The link will be in the description. Thank you all for watching. I hope you had a blast, just like I did, and I'll see you all very soon.